All right, today we're going to dive into the story behind one of the most complex, most dramatic national flags in the entire world, the flag of Mexico.
Most flags are pretty straightforward. Stripes, stars, that kind of thing. But some flags, they tell a story. They're like a map or a legend woven right into the fabric. And let me tell you, few are as epic as Mexico's.
Because that incredible scene at the center of the flag, that's not just some random cool design. It's the final page of a 200-year-long quest. It's the story of how an entire empire was born from a single prophecy.
To really understand this flag, we have to decipher that central image. The eagle, the snake, the cactus. Trust me, none of it is random. It's the master key to a whole nation's origin story.
This emblem is actually the Mexican coat of arms, and it shows the literal founding of what is now Mexico City. It's a story about a wandering tribe, their all-powerful god, and a single sign they spent generations searching for.
So, who were these people? We often call them the Aztecs, right? But that's actually not what they called themselves.
They were the Mexica. That's pronounced Mexica. Their sun and war god, Huitzilopochtli, gave them a command. Leave your mythical home of Aztlan, find a new one, and in doing so, you will forge a new identity as my chosen people.
And this was no short trip. We're talking 2 centuries. For 200 years, they wandered through deserts, living as outcasts, sometimes even fighting as mercenaries for other tribes. It was this brutal, multi-generational test of their faith, and it was all driven by the promise of finding one very, very specific divine sign.
The Mexica priests were told their journey would only end when they found this exact vision. To us, it might look like a simple scene from nature, but to them, every single element was a sacred message directly from their god.
So, first, the golden eagle. This wasn't just any bird. It was the physical manifestation of Huitzilopochtli himself, a living symbol of the sun, of power, and of the warrior spirit of the Mexica people.
The cactus is really special. According to the legend, it wasn't just any old plant. It was said to have grown from the heart of a vanquished enemy, which had been thrown into a swamp on their god's command. So this cactus, or nopal, literally marked the sacred, predestined spot for their new home.
And then, finally, we have the snake. Now, this is the part of the story we all think we know. The eagle, symbolizing the sun, devouring the snake, symbolizing the earth. It's this classic triumph of good over evil. But what if the snake was never actually there to begin with?
Okay, here's a really fascinating historical twist. If you look at the actual pre-Hispanic artifacts, like the famous teocalli of the Sacred War, the eagle isn't holding a snake. It's holding a glyph called Aztec, which means burning water. It was the Mexica symbol for war. So a lot of historians think the Spanish might have misinterpreted this symbol as a snake, or maybe even changed it to fit their own European story of good conquering evil. The snake is definitely part of the identity now, but its origin? Yeah, it's still debated.
Then, in the year 1325, after 2 long centuries of wandering, they saw it. On a swampy little island in the middle of Lake Texcoco, a golden eagle was perched on a cactus. The quest was finally over. But there was a huge problem. The divinely chosen spot was a muddy, marshy island that absolutely no one else wanted. There was no timber, no stone, not even any solid ground. It was, by all accounts, a completely impossible place to build a city.
But the Mexica didn't go looking for a new spot. Instead, they engineered the land itself. They created these incredible artificial islands, called chinapas, by driving stakes deep into the lake bed and filling them in with mud. They literally built their own ground to stand on.
And from that one muddy patch of land, they built Tenochtitlan, one of the most magnificent cities in the world. By the time the Spanish arrived, it was a massive metropolis with over 200,000 people. That's bigger than London or Paris at the time. A true engineering marvel, all centered on the exact spot where the eagle landed. Now, for 300 years under Spanish rule, that eagle emblem was suppressed. But when Mexico finally fought for its independence in the 1800s, its leaders reclaimed this incredibly powerful symbol to unite the new nation, adapting it to reflect their own time.
The symbol has evolved right alongside the country. When Mexico first became an empire in 1821, the eagle actually wore a crown. Makes sense. Just 2 years later, when the Republic was formed, the crown came off. The fierce, side-profile version we all know today was officially adopted in 1968, designed to look more like that majestic predator from the original legend.
The symbol wasn't the only thing that evolved. The meaning of the flag's famous colors also changed over time to reflect the values of the modern nation.
The meaning of the colors themselves totally evolved. Originally, way back in 1821, they stood for independence, religion, and union. But as the nation became more secular, these meanings were updated. So today, green represents hope, white signifies unity, and red honors the blood of the nation's heroes.
And what's so incredible is that you can still visit these historical locations today. In Mexico City, the Templo Mayor Museum is built on the exact spot where the Mexica saw the eagle. You can see the original stone carving with the war glyph at the Anthropology Museum, and you can watch the modern flag ceremony right there in the Zocalo over the ruins of the ancient capital.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The Mexican flag isn't just a banner, it's a woven story of faith, resilience, and destiny. It's a snapshot of the very moment a nation's entire story began.
It makes you wonder, right? Every symbol has a history. So the next time you see a flag or a crest or even a monument, take a closer look. What impossible quest or hidden legend might it be telling?